Yep, says recording.
IronWill podcast. Welcome back to another episode. Self-improvement, goal achievement, high performance, becoming a peak performing individual and crushing your goals. Set ambitious goals and kill in life. That is what we are about. IronWill Tribe, we are going to be welcoming one of the IronWill legends back to the podcast, a man with a life story that could fill 5 books, the mugger himself, the goal achiever, the Bulldog, also known as the Brown Shogun. What is up, Bulldog?
How's it fucking going?
Bulldog, it is going well. I'm literally excited, as you can tell, to interview you today and to capture the second part of your tale. For people who've checked you out before and have seen the first part of his story, you getting your shit together, you going from fucking being groomed on online communities to crushing in life and going on a endless spree of success and goal achievement. We're going to now dive in to the second part of your tale, the Japanese era, right? The Brown Shogun era. Do you remember this? Do you remember when you were making this transition? We were doing our coaching.
Yeah, I do.
For those who are like, okay, why is he asking if he can remember this? For those who don't know, this motherfucker is immersed in Japanese, so English is like a distant memory for him now. So it might be confusing to speak to me right now. Is it kind of
Yeah,
weird to speak to
yeah, it
guys
is.
in English
I
now?
don't speak to people in English in real life. Um, this is one of two English conversations I've had this whole month, and the other one was also with you. So,
Yeah, man. You know, the thing is though, right? That's sometimes what people don't understand. That's what it sometimes takes to go out and actually accomplish some shit like you did. Let's take him back, man. Like now you're there. You've got your girlfriend. You're kind of chilling. You're making some progress in your life in Japan over there, right? It's a good old time for you. But then once upon a time, when you first landed in the land of the rising sun, it wasn't necessarily a happy time. Let's take him back, dude. We call it the Blackpill era. You get off the airplane, you're there to live your best life, there to achieve your dreams, but all of a sudden, things aren't quite happening, man. What's going on? Talk to us about how that was like.
right. So I had left America because, to cut to the chase, I was getting kind of crappy results with girls that I wasn't even attracted to. Um, if you saw the earlier podcast, I talked about great experiences I had, um, but then it like still comes in waves, and I was on the negative part of the wave, and I was like sitting there like, do I want to deal with this in America? Like I felt it was kind of crushing to my ego somehow to have to deal with it in America when I could be in Japan. Like at least the way I rationalized it was, at least if I was getting this kind of bullshit in Japan where the girls are all fucking hot, I would be okay with it somehow. But um, I'm in America and I was personally not a fan of. I was like, dude, I'm not fucking getting blown out by like fat chicks and like getting like put in like long-term relationship territory with this kind of chick.
Yeah.
So um I I had impulsively booked a flight to Japan. Like I was walking around outside sort of stewing in my anger in a parking lot, and I was just like, you know what, I'm gonna fucking book a flight to Japan. Just one way. Fucking I have a
Sayonara, bitches.
sayonara, bitches. Yeah, pretty much. Sayonara, bitches. Yeah, that's what it was. Um,
Get the fuck out of
before,
here.
yeah,
Dating these fatties, getting blown out by these chicks.
yeah, I wanted to move to Japan anyway, and I already like knew how to speak Japanese. So what was the fucking point of being in America, where like away from my dreams? Like it just felt illogical. So I just booked the fucking ticket. I quit my job. I had a really, really cushy job. And thanks to that job, I had enough savings just to be like, well, okay, sayonara, bitches, and yeah, fucking came to Japan.
That's sometimes the shit people don't understand. You know what I mean? Like, sorry to cut you off, but it's like sometimes people don't understand. Like, you're hustling, you're doing all this self improvement, you're going out there, you're making your money, you've got your job all set up, it's really good. You know, a lot of you guys like yourself who've got that kind of software engineer job where you can put some hours in, and then you've got the rest of your life to go out and enjoy and approach and meet women and build your body and build your physique. And you're doing all of that. You're handling all of that. You're consistent. You're working really hard. You're doing your approaches. You're doing your dates. You're improving your photos. Things are like showing signs of progression, right? You're getting laid and all that shit. But if it's not the type of chick that you want, like some people don't understand, like many of us as men, our bar is quite low. Like we will to get the experience, we'll go on these dates, not necessarily thinking that these girls are going to be the ones that we're going to end up with or anything like that. They're not necessarily the belle of the ball sometimes, but we go on there to get the experience, have an enjoyable time. But the thing is, dude, the heart wants what it wants. Like we know what we want in our core. We want someone who makes us happy to be alive. We want someone who can actually align with and feel good emotions with. And if you're consistently going out there and not meeting the type of person you want to be with, it's like, okay, bro, I get I'm improving, but come the fuck on. Like, how long am I supposed to do this shit? You know what I
Yeah,
mean? And
exactly.
many of us had this, many. So yeah, you know what? You sometimes you have to do. You have to get off your ass and go to an environment where you're gonna get closer to what you look for. You want what you want from life, right? You want to connect with a type of female who's going to treat you right, who's going to value you, and who's going to make you want to actually like be a better person. Who's going to actually give you the fire and motivation, you know, to go out and get the good things in life. So like many of us have to go abroad for this shit, you know, and you certainly did. So you arrive in Japan, get back to your story, you arrive in Japan, you're motivated and you are driven to excel. And you're like, yeah, man, I'm gonna go over there, I'm gonna get myself a new life, I'm gonna be meeting some hot Japanese chicks. But what actually happens when you settle down over there?
Yeah, so I show up in Japan and I'm like, yep, gonna start fucking approaching. That's what I got to do. Um, but if any of you have been in sort of that black pill mindset before, you know, it's not just, oh, I just changed locations, everything works. I still had the as I mentioned earlier, like, oh, I'm getting like rejected by this kind of chick and blah blah blah, and I'm not good enough. Those thought, even though I changed locations, the neural pathways in my head didn't really change. I
Mm.
so you know, and the thing is with dating, rejection numbers game, blah blah. Like you have rejection is a prerequisite and all, but I wasn't in a mental state to handle that when I moved to Japan. So I ended up just sort of after doing maybe like I did maybe two or three approach sessions. Uh, I wasn't feeling it at all, and I was like, I just sort of shut myself in my room and yeah, that's what happened. I hadn't figured out what was going on internally yet.
Hmm. As above, so below, dude. Like, you know, you've seen yourself. No one really shucks the work in this shit. Like, this is the thing that, like, why I want to talk to you today. People don't understand. Like, you took massive fucking action, dude. You did hell of approaches. You worked on yourself so hard. You did all you could. You maximized yourself. You got even results. But like, when things aren't quite right underneath, this is an inside job. Success is an inside job. When you're trapped at a lower level of consciousness where you've got such doubt over your fucking appearance, and I struggle with all this shit too, man. Because at the end of the day, this is a process. This can go on for quite some time, dude. It can go on for quite some time. But you have to go through this shit to understand the patterns. You have to, well, you kind of have to see, all right, is my thinking really helping me here? Is this helping me move the needle? And you question this shit. You had to question this stuff, right? You had to land in this location where you're primed for success and you had to like confront some of your demons. What were those things? Now I'm gonna just lead the discussion because maybe I remember some of it, but some of it I can recall like, you know, a dude like yourself, let's be quite transparent. There's different product market fits for everywhere. If I go to certain parts of the world, I don't get a whole lot of action. It's tough. I still grind and get outcomes, but it's more difficult. Some people may say, well, look, man, if you're a brown man, you're going to a place like the Far East where you're not necessarily the target market. You're asking for a lot of grinding. Yeah. you had some of those narratives no doubt going on, and of course you've got mutual friends who will put their profile from America to Japan and get fucking match after match after match after match. Is it like unbelievable god mode, right? Talk to us about some of the things that are coming up for you.
Right, yeah. So I had other peers like Wings who we had our own group chat. We were all considering moving to Asia. We all have, by the way. Like two of us moved to Japan, two of us moved to Korea, two of them moved to Korea. But we before we moved, we had done Tinder/Bumble experiments, and you know, one of the guys was getting like 130 matches a day on Bumble. The other guy was getting 30 a day on Bumble. Like that is a lot. That is yeah, I mean, that is a fucking lot. I don't have anything else to say. Even my other friend who moved to Japan with me, he's actually getting solid online dating results now. He's like, got some plates here in Japan. But I wasn't getting anything. And the profile I was using, it was doing pretty well in America, actually. Like, ironically, being brown is not as big of a deal in America as much as it is in Japan. But in America, I was getting, I got about 100 matches a month, and that's plenty to like, go on get dates and start, doing all the girl stuff. But I wasn't getting anything initially with my America picks here, and I didn't have enough. I guess I didn't have enough experience, so combined with not getting, very good responses from cold approach, even for just like the little bit that I did, I kind of spiraled a bit. I wasn't able to sleep. I would like go out at the house and make like angry video rants to like kind of get stuff out of my system. But like there was one benefit. I was like determined to get fucking jacked as fuck. So I was channeling all the anger, just going to the gym. I turned to like a gym incel for a bit. I would, yeah, there was this one time where I was walking to the gym and I had like a leg day and had like, I was walking and there was this like lanky fucking white dude with like a hot Japanese chick, and I just stared them down because I was. By the way, don't do this. This is bad. But like I'm not saying this is a good thing that I did. I'm just trying to say that I was very angry, and like I kind of misdirected my anger because I don't like believe all this stuff anymore. But I basically thought the reason why I was staring them down, and then I like used all the energy to like, do my squat set later. So, but I think if I had to sum up what it was, I was like, okay, I did all this self-improvement. I did all this like dating stuff in America. I got some lays, and I was starting to see things go up, but none of that is helping me here in Japan. And my white guy friends who I perceived as maybe they didn't do as much as I did, or whatever. Like I was doing that whole thing where I'm like comparing myself to other people, making arbitrary excuses. Like at the end of the day, it's just excuses like, oh, I'm doing so much more, but you're getting more results. Like, that kind of dumbassery. That's what I was genuinely feeling, and I didn't know how to get out of it at the time. So that's what I was going through a year ago.
We all go through that. Like that's part of this game, dude. Like at the end of the day, right? It's not just dudes who like go to markets where their like skin color and race isn't like held to be attractive over there. Like there's other dudes who have to deal with, I don't know, freaking image issues related to maybe they just haven't got a good facial structure. Maybe they just haven't got an overall good physical structure at all. Like there's many dudes who are just not super attractive, haven't got the confidence, all this sort of shit, dude. End of the day, what we're trying to do is achieve something, and abundance is not an easy thing. Like, no, this has a price to pay. If you want like excellent outcomes, it has a price to pay. Most dudes are having a shit time in dating. Like in 2023, 2024, most dudes are having a shit time. There's look at the statistics on male loneliness, on freaking dudes who haven't had sex in years, and that like This is going against the grain, and
It's
as
even
such,
worse
it's
in
seen as
Japan.
weird. It's seen as like these guys. What are they? Oh yeah, herbivore men and hikikomori. What the hell these shut in dudes are like? Dudes don't leave the house for years and shit. Like,
The
it's
new the
crazy
new
out there.
term
It's
is
absolutely crazy out there.
the new term is cheese rice beef bowl boy or something. It's like that nerdy super
Damn.
glasses look and like that chin that's like what is it? The chin goes like inward instead of like outward. I forgot what it's called, but
Recessed chin.
right?
Not even
Yeah,
chap jaw.
recessed chin. Yeah, recessed chin, and it's like they go to like some chain rice bowl place and order cheese rice beef. I don't know why
Oh,
that's the stereotype, but um, yeah. To be fair, I was eating that to like get jacked, so I don't know.
I
But yeah, it's
damn
definitely a thing in
boy.
Japan.
I see. That's yeah. This yeah. Fucking involuntary celibacy and all that. It's like a disease of the modern civilization, man. But like, look, end of the day, like many guys go through this. Like dudes at every level go through this, man. Like guys who's got good looking friends who'll just load up Tinder and get fucking endless matches. Right? It's an unfair game. That's dating. All's fair in love and war. There can be a guy who just is very very attractive and all he has to do is text, want to fuck, and chicks are down. Simple as that, yeah? We all know this. We all see this. You can get down yourself. You can think, oh my God, like I have to do all this shit. I have to do all this approach and I have to do all this online dating. I have to like go on date after date after date after date. I have to do all this shit. People can get stuck in that and then they never escape it. And then they don't really accomplish anything at all. Or you can instead take the mentality like, okay, here's what I'm trying to accomplish. I'm going to get this goal. I'm going to accomplish this regardless of any disadvantages, regardless of whether my archetype's not valued here, regardless of my skin tone is not valued here, regardless of anything. I'm going to use a fucking pure hustler mentality and I'm going to just make it happen, right? Only thing that's going to stop me is death or physical incapacitation. Otherwise, I'm dead certain on accomplishing this. If you're that dead certain on something, you're a dangerous motherfucker. You're going to get it. You're going to get it. That's the way to power through these things. But you had to go through a bit of a process to power through that yourself. So I know with yourself, like you got over there. How did you find the initial period of like approaching those Japanese women? Was it different to how it was in America or what?
Oh yeah, definitely it was different. By that and different is an understatement. So in America, if you approach, usually if you get rejected, they'll be nice. They're other than New York City, maybe I don't know. I've never been there, but all the places I approached, it was very rare to get like straight up ignored or like a rude reaction. Like it would happen now and then, but like not enough for it to be like too bad. Like for the most part, it'd be like oh, like girls would be straight up like oh, I'm not interested, or I have a boyfriend, or whatever. Like and you can move on. Like there wouldn't be like it wouldn't be a big deal. But when I came to Japan, I think specifically Tokyo because approach culture, it's called nampa here, is huge in Japan. So everyone knows about it. It's not like cold. I think in America, cold approach like kind of people don't know about it. It's kind of just like this like niche red
What are
pill
you
whatever type
harassing
thing.
women, you weirdo? You trying to get to prison? This is sexual assault, like predators. Like what the fuck? Actually, in Japan, it's
Yeah,
normal.
yeah, everyone knows about like like I said, Nampa. Like everyone knows about it, and like girls say, "Oh, I got Nampa," blah blah blah. Um, but I think because they're so used to it, and then combined with like, I think it's not rude to ignore people in Asia. I think, especially Japan and even China. I had experienced something similar with approaching Chinese girls in America, like fresh off the boat Chinese girls. Um, the point okay, the point I'm trying to make here is you would try to like say, "Hey, what's up?" blah blah blah, and it doesn't matter if you're doing English or Japanese. That like didn't matter. They would just not acknowledge your existence, or like they would like dart off. Like say like they're walking here, and then you come up like, "Hey, what's up?" like blah blah. They would like not even look at you. They would just go. "Ugh." They would change their whole trajectory of what they were doing just to not talk to you. And like the thing is there are girls who will talk to you. Like it just takes more approaches because I'm kind of talking about this after
Mm,
the fact because now I know how it works a bit more, so I'm not as like
mm.
salty about it. But it was definitely something I was not used to. It was like very very ice cold bitches type kind of thing.
Yeah. So of course it's gonna black pill you, dude. So you're going over there, you see your white friends, just regular ass white dudes, normal regular dudes, loading up their profile in Asia, getting hundreds of matches. Like, oh my god, look at this! Like, unbelievable receptivity, and your brown ass goes over there. You're getting women running away from you, who like ignoring the fact that you even exist. Of course, you're going to be like, "What in the fuck is going on?" You know what I mean? It's hard like
Yeah,
that.
and I wasn't getting anything on the like. I would get like 3 matches a day on like Bumble or whatever, and then like maybe in a whole week. And this is with Bumble Premium, whatever. Like I actually was paying for it too. I would have like one or two like girls that wouldn't ignore my first message. So
Mm.
yeah.
Yeah, but how do you kind of deal with the fact that you can see how, like, in my opinion, dude, like, if you go to a market where you've tested it and you kind of know my product is gonna have a different experience here, right? Part of you at the start like feels a bit of pain. You know what I mean? Like, how did you kind of deal? How do you come to terms with that? Like, you totally cool with just having to grind, or what? How do you feel about that?
I mean, at the end of the day, I didn't come to Japan for like easy mode because I came to Japan because I find Japanese girls fucking hot, and I've been sort of like on and off connected with Japan for a while. I studied the language. I have Japanese friends, and I now, even after living here for a whole year, this is a place where I want to live kind of rest of my life, like base my life in Japan. So I mean, if it's harder here, if it's easier, that kind of wasn't like that isn't relevant.
Yeah.
If I wanted easy dating mode, I mean,
Ooh.
just go to Thailand and get hookers. I don't know.
Yeah, pretty
No,
much,
nothing
dude.
wrong with that. I'm not.
You know, yeah,
Oh
for
yeah,
sure,
I was
man.
just
Like,
saying like nothing wrong with that. But that wasn't my goal. Um, I really wanted to live in Japan, and I wa yeah. There's just so many like hot girls, and there's so many other aspects about Japan I just wanted to be in. And if it's harder, I mean, it's already not like I have some like to put flip it on the other side. I already have some other advantages. English is my native language. Guess what the
mm.
most in demand foreign language is in Japan? Exactly, English. So and I don't have like a fucking accent either. I have right American accent. I'm a native English speaker. So even so, I'm trying to look for a job now, and so even if my Japanese isn't up to par, I can still get a job with English. So it's like I think at the end of the day, yeah, like honestly, yes, it was a shock that certain things were harder, and I had to deal with it, of course. But is that the end of the world? No. And am I going to give up because of that? No, because I wanted to be here. Like I don't see why. Like there's no concept of like giving up. Like what
For
else am I going to
sure,
do? There's just no other
dude. This is the
choice.
thing. Yeah, exactly. This is what I wanted to get at. See, this is the mindset. This is the mindset of a person who's going to have success. I'll bet my entire life savings on a guy who's going to remove every other possibility from the table other than success and say, no, this is happening. End of story. End of story. It's dead certainty. I'm going to enjoy my life here regardless. That guy is going to win over the guy who's got, like, some doubt, some fears, like, oh, but I'm having a shit time here. I'm having this. I'm having that. You know what, man? Like, there's a lot to be said from just mindset. Let's consider my own example in Budapest over the summer, dude. Over the summer, I was in the same boat. I couldn't get any matches. I couldn't do this. I couldn't do that. I was approaching. I was doing all this stuff, and guess what? I didn't get any success that whole time. Worked on my mindset. Went to New York. Did some mentoring. Did a boot camp. Did some training. Worked on myself. Developed more of a harder hustler mentality that just says fuck it. I'll 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 go out there and exude masculinity and strength. And then lo and behold, come back from that experience. What, fucking 8 women been with now? Like, since that, a whole time in summer of nothing happening. 3 months of nothing happening versus 2 months, 8 chicks.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
exactly.
It's
It
here.
is the
It's a
whole
mental game.
waves thing.
It's a mental game, right? It's just ridiculous. Like, 10 months of nothing happening, 10 months of nothing happening, and then 8 women. Right. in
Yeah.
what, 6 weeks?
You have
Like,
to ride the
you know what
wave
I mean?
too. Like you can't
This,
give like everyone loses when they give up at the the shitty part of the wave. Like even I've experienced that too. So
yeah, yeah. This is how, like, when you are serious about accomplishing anything, you can't entertain the possibility. You know what I mean? You can't. We naturally, all we've both been transparent. I had my doubts. You had your doubts. But at your core, your mindset needs to be, well, all right, regardless of what it takes, I'm going to win. If I have to change this, I have to change that, I will win. So with that certainty, you will create outcomes like you did, right? So I just wanted to address that because some people may hear it and think, what the fuck is this dude doing? Like going to play on hard mode, going to go to an environment where it's going to be difficult for him to get his needs met and to find romance and connection. At the end of the day, dude, if you look at it that way, you can put yourself in hell in any situation in the world. If you look at it, if you just look at the area where you're struggling with and make that your identity, then you're going to poison your whole life. Instead, you look at all the abundance and gratitude that you are now in a great country where you enjoy the culture, where you enjoy the history, where you enjoy the language, where you enjoy the aesthetics, where you enjoy just being there gives you joy and gratitude. That is a mindset that's going to allow you to achieve because it puts you in abundance and gratitude. Those are winning emotions. Fear, doubt, self deprecation, lack of self love. These are not winning emotions. Winning does not come to people like that. Winning doesn't come to people like that. Even if you were rewarded by outcomes, if you retain that mentality, you're going to end up in the dungeon anyway. You're going to not enjoy it anyway. Really, what you want to be doing is elevating your thinking to seeing the world as full of possibilities. And wherever you lay your sword, you will succeed because of what's in here, your map of the world, how you see reality, the concepts that you've ingrained into your psyche through the work that we do. That type of person who's a hustler is fucking dangerous because he sees success as a straight line. Here's point A, here's point B. If you are that certain, you always win because you're just going to simply blast through every obstacle that comes up, which is exactly what you did, which is what we're going to talk about now. You go through a process, dude, and then you start figuring this out. How do we start doing the remove of the black pill? Because I remember this conversation we had where we said, dude, we're just going to focus on biology right now. We're just going to heal for a while. Do you remember that?
yeah, actually, I wanted to talk. I was gonna say like you are the one who helped me get out of this period, and we just started with like but okay, so before I start with that, I was a shut in. I would go to the gym. That was the only thing I was doing. Like going to the gym and like doing my diet. But other than that, I was I came I traveled across the fucking Pacific Ocean to sit in my room all day on the computer. Yeah, I don't think so. So it was so if my mental state's all fucked up, it's like, well, Ravi had the point where it's like, well, you need to kind of fix your biology, like get to the point where you feel good, and that has a lot of value because what we did was, so I was getting up at the sunrise. I was getting up at 6:30 a.m. every day. I had a separate accountability chat where we would all wake up and post like here's what it was, right? It was you promised I will wake up at X time every day, right? And then you had to post an image by that time. Like, so for example, in my case, I will post it. I would go to the park. I would take a walk to the park because anyone could just like sit in the bed. I'll take a picture of the alarm clock, go back to bed, right? Now, my thing was I would go to the park, take a picture of the like a clock at the alarm park or alarm park. What the fuck am I saying? Alarm. I would take a picture of the clock at the park, and um, that was how. And if you didn't do that, you had to pay $50 to like the feminist organization. That's how it fucking worked. And yeah, I think I paid like $200 to the feminists or some 200.
Oh,
Yeah, and
brutal.
yeah, and like some other guys too. Like I think we collectively paid like $500 to like the feminists because we didn't wake
Oh.
up on time. So, but that really got me just like I had that initial like fuck, I don't want to pay money to the feminists, and um, so that I started feeling good because I was waking up just walking out the door, taking a walk to the park, enjoying the sunrise. There was like dogs in the park and shit. I would just start talking to other, people with their dogs and shit. Like, yeah, what kind of dog is that? Blah blah blah. Um,
Mm.
and you know, I started really small. It was just like, okay, let's start waking up early. Like Ravi, you guys probably know Ravi has like all these tips for how to like hack your biology to the max. But for someone who is just like totally mentally fucked up, it's start simple. I started with just wake up at 6:30 a.m. That's it. That's your only task for the day. Because if you think you're a failure the whole time, you're not gonna get anything done. You're not gonna have any motivation. So I had to set the bar extremely low. I was like, I'm going to wake up. That's all I'm gonna do. If I just watch YouTube videos for the rest of the day, that's fine. Just wake up at 6:30, go to the park. That's it. That's what I started. Next thing I did was I was like, okay, I'm gonna do like 10 minutes of meditation a day. Um, just those simple things. And that would be, it was like my motto was today was a success. Um, it
Mm.
was just sort of like mentally healing by doing. I set the bar real fucking low just for like what consists of success, and I kept adding things like drinking 2 liters of water a day, just like typical health stuff. Ravi had like gave me like a master class on how to go to bed early. You dim all the lights when the sun sets. Blah blah blah. Um, and that got me feeling better. Like just a month of doing just basic, keeping your like a routine sort of and doing basic health tasks, that made me feel a lot better. I think by like a month or two in, I started going to meetups. Like, meetups where everyone's Japanese. I'm the only non-Japanese person. And, you know, people started being, and since I was working hard at the gym, people were like, damn, like how much you bench. They weren't asking me like, oh, like where are you from? Like, oh, your Japanese is so good. Like that's like a sarcastic compliment in Japan if you speak Japanese. Oh, your Japanese is so good, even though you have like a huge
Mhm.
accent or whatever. Um,
Mm.
but no, they were like, "Yo, bro, how much do you bench?" Like that was what everyone was asking me. People were like interested in like my workout routine because I was, I was wearing clothes that showed off my muscles a bit, and it fucking paid off. And I was like, "Damn, I'm not even trying to be social." Like I hadn't looked into like, okay, let's try to empathize with people, try to get to know them. But like I didn't do any of that. I was just like showing up, and people asking me how much you bench, bro, and I was just like, okay, so
Mm.
I have value. That sort of got me out of that initial thing of, wow, no, I'm not a fit for Japan, blah blah blah. I'm jealous of my white friends too. Like people complimenting me on my look. People's not only complimenting on my looks, but that was the first thing they noticed. That's when you know it's real. So
Mm.
yeah,
Dude, you see what's like separates winners from dudes who are just gonna fucking struggle, man. Like the universe is gonna test. The universe is gonna see if you're really willing to pay the price. Because guess what? As we both know, many people showed up to life and said, "I'm gonna go make it now. I'm gonna go make something of myself. I'm gonna get all this shit done." And the universe said, "All right, that's great. That's great. I'm happy to hear this. Let's see how that goes for you. We'll see. Maybe they take action for a bit. They get motivated. They go do some approaches. They go work on themselves in the gym. They do some solid work. Then the universe is going to test. It's going to throw out a challenge to see how they respond. The first real fucking test of proper goal achievement, high performance, is the losing streak. When you are
that's
taking
yeah. I
L,
started hitting that.
yeah. When you are suffering beyond where you've even fucking suffered before, when you finally reach the point where you throw your hands in the air and say, "What is the fucking point, dude? Is this even possible?" That is when the universe is testing you more than anything. And at that point, if you can handle that and push through and persist, you must fucking internalize that success is your destiny because 99% are done at that point. Done. You will never hear from them again. The 1%, the 1%, the guys who got what you seek, who've got the great money, who've got the great women, who've got the great life, those guys, they paid the price. They passed that test. You are a small fucking part of an elite group who actually passed that test if you get through it. Negative tilt. What is tilt? In poker, when you start to lose, that's when you enter tilt. The best guys in the world recognize it and they employ strategies to get them mentally on point. The guys who maybe are good, who maybe have got to a good standard, maybe they're making 200-300 grand a year, maybe they're fucking professional killers, right? But when they get into tilt, these are the times where, wait a minute, dude, I'm just fucking losing. I'm losing. What the fuck's what's so wrong with me? Am I not good enough? Am I not made to win in this world? Am I not just made of the right stuff? Am I not smart enough? I just can't handle the pressure. My emotions are all over the place. They stop listening to their coaches. They stop listening to their mentors. They stop studying for 2-3 hours a day. They stop updating their software. They stop finding ways to win. And then they stagnate and they don't get to the next level. The fucking 1% who, even in that time, double down on themselves, double down on listening to their coaches, double down on listening to their mentors, double down on reflection, double down on self improvement, becoming a better person. They break through every single time because it's just how the universe works. The universe will ask you to take a step towards it and it will take a step towards you. You can't expect it to just give it to you. It's just not how the universe works. It's not how it works. These are the times where you'll be tested. You were tested. And guess what you did? Double down on your self improvement, improved your biology. We did the sunrise watching. We did the optimization of sleep. We started to regenerate your mitochondria. Your brain was very inflamed. It was in this pattern of the repetitive cycle of thinking. We took measures to reduce neuroinflammation. We consumed DHA every day. We started to do the grounding, the earthing, the barefoot walking on earth to replenish your electrons, to improve your electrical potential of your body and brain to work better. To break these unconscious patterns, we raise your dopamine levels by getting lots more time outside to replenish your neurotransmitters. And then your mentality improves, and then your consciousness improves, and then your energetic signature that is around you at any time started to improve. So when you went to the meetups just to get human contact and get out of your fucking pattern of being in your house, you received better and you were given compliments, and this gave you an upward spiral. And then you started to get back in the fight. And then you knew, okay, dude, there came a moment you said, dude, this is fucking bullshit. This whole thing is bullshit. It's not over. It's not that I can't win here. It's not that, it's just not true. It's manifestly not true. You came to that realization independently because guess what? Regardless of who you are, where you're from, what you look like, success is possible. It's fucking possible. There's
Yeah, it really
dudes
was
with
all in my head.
fucking, yeah, it always is, dude. It always is. We're going to bridge this into the next aspect, which is like you accept reality for what it is. You don't argue with it. You don't argue with God. You don't argue with the universe. You accept it, but then you just pay the price. Yeah. If you use the term "it's harder for me," then it's harder for me. If instead you frame it as, well, this is me rising to my highest potential, and you enjoy that shit, you are much more likely to excel and succeed because it's the consciousness. It's at the highest level. You do this for the love of yourself and the love of humanity and the love of the game, because it's a consciousness act. When you see the world in abundance, yeah, that's when you start to flourish, as you did here. So you start to take care of your biology, and all of a sudden you're reinvigorated to take care of it. So you talk about how we're now going to get back in the fight. So you hired someone to support you with your like grooming, your image, because there's a lot that we learned about Japan, which is just very, very different in terms of how self-improvement works in other parts of the world. So chat to us about what you learned in terms of how do I need to change my image? How do I need to change my look? And how, when you did those things, there was some significant changes that happened for you. Take us through that.
Right, right, yeah. So eventually, I got back into approaching again, and I was like, I need to put in the fucking hours and put in the approaches. So was putting in the approaches, and then I started following Japanese Nampa Twitter, cold approach Twitter, because I wanted to like find the community and connect with them. Because the killer and a loser community helped me get to where I was in America, so I wanted to find something similar in Japan. Um, and then I found people were posting crazy shit, dude. There was a guy, and a lot of people think it's lies or whatever, but people would get like 50 lays in a month just from cold approach, and that's only possible in like Tokyo. That's the thing.
Mm.
But here's the catch: they are approaching the guys who get that many lays in a month. They just dedicate all their time, like they'll do it for a month, just to, like challenge themselves. They'll spend like 6-7 hours a day just hitting the streets. They're posting pictures of how their shoes are all like fucked up now, and they'll post like
Mm.
they'll post shit like, I deliberately don't come so I preserve my energy so I can keep approaching and get multiple lays in a day, for example. Like they will that's the extent they will go to. It's like a lot of people, it's like, oh, I want to get laid, and it's like, oh, well, the end of having sex is coming, right? Yeah, like that's the end of the goal. But no, some of these guys were like, they were in it just to like, improve, because doing Napa and cold approach, that requires a lot of, mental strength. It's a sport here. It really is like a sport. And they
Mm.
were doing it because they wanted to max out the sport. Um, and I just saw this and I was just like, what the fuck? And it was just felt obvious because from my little experience from my first few days approaching, I was like, yeah, the type of person who would succeed at this has to be this fucking hardcore.
Yeah.
And I need that energy. So I had actually joined a group, a paid group. It was about $3,600. Um, but you know, they go all in. They're approaching all the time. They also do online, and yeah, my hair is kind of like crazy, but that's like part of it. Um, and he did a fashion overhaul. We went to like one of the malls over here, and fashion overhaul, and a lot of it was more of like little things of like, yeah, you need to have this kind of body language, this is how you should open, just typical stuff. Like, this is information you could easily
Yeah.
find, but like that's one thing, like finding the information, but it's another thing for another experienced person to like look at what you're doing and then tell you, okay, this is what you specifically need to fix. Like, they can focus. So that helped me a bit. um uh, yeah, I learned that one very popular archetype here, as opposed to the West, is they like the K-pop boy architecture, like those very thin,
Mm.
pale, makeup. Like, makeup is a thing for guys here too. Like, guys will be wearing lip gloss here. I'm not joking. I've worn lip gloss before. Like,
Mm.
that's what it is here. I even got what do you call it? Hair removal. I didn't have like my facial hair sucked anyway, so I just got it removed like with laser. Um, but yeah, it's totally different. It was a kind of a culture shock to me what was considered, attractive and cool here. Like, if you're interested, like a lot of girls like hosts. Like, hosts are basically those kind of anime looking guys slash K-pop looking guys who are
Uh,
like, bartenders. They'll
all
be
right.
bartenders, kind of. That's yeah. Just look up host Japanese or something.
Mm.
Host Japanese got male or something, and
Yeah.
look in Google Images. Yeah, you'll find exactly. It looks bizarre to anyone who's not familiar with it, but if you want to know why my hair is all fucked up like this, yeah, that's why. Um, it's kind of the same deal. Um,
Yeah.
but
You got
yeah,
awakened to this though, right? This is
yeah,
like you got awakened to the fact that, like, dude, you spent all this time in America and the West getting jacked, building muscle, taking steroids, getting bigger, and you were getting complimented on that. Like, even in America, they're like asking you, "Oh my God, your ass looks so good, your fucking biceps look so good, all this fucking shit." You're starting to get some results. You pull, you lay, all that happens, right? And you've tailored your look to one that's successful in the West, but when you go over there, your look is not working. All of a sudden, it's like, right, I'm getting cold water poured in my face, so to speak, when I'm approaching. I'm not getting much online, like not much traction at all.
Yeah,
What is going on, man? And this Japanese group.
yeah. I was gonna
Oh,
say
okay,
in
I'll go ahead.
America,
This
I
Japanese
would,
group go ahead and like.
yeah, I would say in America, I did improve my looks by a lot. I didn't looks max. I didn't fully, I wasn't yet like fully like maybe if I had that archetype fully like looks max, then maybe it would be a different story. I basically got to the point
Mm,
where I could get my foot in the door in America. I do want to point
yeah.
that out. But like getting to the point where I could get my foot in the door in America didn't necessarily mean I'd get my foot in the door in Japan. Um,
Mm,
so
it's a
so
different
that's an
ballgame.
important nuance. Yeah, it was a different ball game.
For sure, man. Like even as I'm listening and like watching you go through this process and learning, it's like it's a very different self improvement process. Like these guys, the coach that you hired, for example, spent $100,000 on plastic surgery.
Yeah, well, not just plastic surgery, all his looks maxing, but I'm pretty sure a lot of it was plastic surgery. I'm glad you mentioned that. Like
Mm,
in the West, like a lot of male self improvements about like get jack, go to the gym, and then the
yeah,
hardcore people are like take steroids. But in Japan, the hardcore people, it's not take actually some people who were like hustling in the gym were lamenting like, fuck, I kind of wish I didn't get this jacked. I wanted to, I should have done plastic surgery and stuff. Although that's up for debate. I'm not going to get into the specifics, but I will say a lot of hardcore guys here, they do plastic surgery. Like what people will do in America for like getting Jacko in the gym. People do skincare, plastic surgery, go into the fucking beauty shop. It's crazy. Like I don't know what this landscape is in
mm.
America or Europe right now, but you come to Japan and you are going to be, yeah, that is the biggest culture shock I had, I would say.
Yeah, these guys are doing self improvement, looks maxing on steroids, man. And the steroids here are the surgeon's scalpel. They're actually getting all their like face
Yeah.
restructured, their cheekbones, their fat removed. They just bring out all their features and shit, and that's how they're winning. These guys, the
Hair
most successful guys in the
removal.
game, are the guys who like really take all that, all that. Yeah, that's the
Yeah,
crazy thing
hair
there. So like
removal, skin lightening,
that,
like making your skin lighter.
jeez, that's the shit that wins over there, dude. Like those guys, as we know, some of these guys are like been with 1,000, 2,000 women.
Yeah, I would say now those are top guys. I would say anyone who's good, like you could see their leg counts above 500, and it's
What
just
the
like
fuck?
what the fuck. Yeah, but
Different
like
ball game.
it was just a mind fuck being in the middle of an approach session with like my coach or my wing, and they're pulling out the fucking lip gloss. Like, gotta fucking put the lip gloss on, and they have like bags that are almost purses, and yeah, that was it. They don't act like fucking. The thing is that guys who would do that kind of shit in America are gay as fuck. And I don't mean like gay as fuck isn't bad. I mean they're literally gay. Like I'm not like that. That wasn't even like, oh, that's so gay. No, they are literally gay as fuck.
Yeah,
But the same guys like who do that in Japan, I mean their demeanor is totally just normal
playing.
dude. Yeah, they're just totally like normal dude, except they're putting on lip gloss and makeup. But that's what. Hey, but that's the thing. They dropped the ego. It's like it doesn't matter if they didn't like it, because I saw their past pics. Like a lot of guys, like they used to work in like on like a fucking farm or something, or they would do like they were like tanned and shit. Like they were like doing like hard labor type work. There were some guys who were doing
Hmm.
blue collar type jobs before they got into pickup, but like as opposed to America where people like max out to look like the Rock. They will they like lighten the fuck out of their skin, plastic surgery, and they're fucking doing makeup, and it's like
Damn.
they don't have any fucking ego behind that. They're just doing it because they see, okay, what does the market want? Well, the market wants this. Okay, I'm going to become that.
Dude, that's crazy. It's like over here we have like we see these things as extreme. They're like, what the fuck, dude? You're trying to get Botox in your forehead. You're trying to get your cheekbones more defined. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Why don't you love yourself? Why don't you understand that like it's all in your head? Whatever. To some extent, I do actually agree with that. I think, to be honest, most dudes can get really good outcomes just by working on themselves, dropping all their body fat, gaining muscle, getting maybe some tattooing, changing your style. I got a fucking hair transplant, dude. I did shit. It's not like I didn't do some of these things, right? But End of the day, the market does decide. So your product is as good as you can make it. Max yourself out by all means. Like I'm trying to still lose more body fat. I'm trying to like chisel my face down. All that like it's important. Of course it is. But end of the day, you are the one that decides what outcomes you want, what you seek, what's going to be adequate for you. And if you're not getting it, then you have to decide how you're going to close that gap. You can close it in many ways. You can develop like killer game, have an unbelievable game. So when you're going out there, you can really generate massive attraction. And that can maybe be an avenue for some people. If you want to do that, you can do that. That is not without its pain and suffering. That can take you years, honestly. It can take you years to get that good. And you're going to have to dedicate fucking hours every single day. Maybe you don't do that. An alternative way is you can really, really aggressively looks max whilst developing your game. Yes, also, but this might, for some, be something that really helps them. Because I know I've talked to people who told me that until their looks were really solid, they just weren't getting the kind of results they wanted. And some of these had to do cosmetic procedures. And that's in the West, dude. That's in like places like America and England, all that shit. But it's just unusual because we don't talk about that in self-improvement in the West. We consider these guys extreme, like incel type looks maxing, obsessives. We kind of laugh at them. In Japan, where some of the most successful guys in the game in the world live, it's normal. It's normal to, yeah, save your money, get surgeon to fix your face, go slay. That's the craziest shit to me, right? I
Yeah.
wonder if there's examples that stand out for you of guys. Can I ask you, like, did you ever chat to a guy, or maybe now, who really just couldn't get the results without the surgeries?
Uh, I think what I saw was, so you're asking whether I've talked to like you're asking if I've talked to guys who they didn't get results until they start getting surgeries and like looks maxing and stuff. Is that what you're asking?
Yeah. Or for example, absolutely. But or for example, did they notice when they got the looks maxing surgeries done, their results went way up? I'm just curious about that.
Oh, no, yeah, that is definitely true. Like the quality went up, the quantity and quality went up when they would get the
Wow.
surgeries. And even that guy I mentioned who got like 50 lays, he said, yeah, the quality wasn't great with a lot of them. And he said if my face was like looked like the coaches, like I basically entered the same program he did, and I was like I used to directly talk to him. Um, the coach like fucking looks max the fuck out of himself, and he was getting some crazy good results. But
Mm,
before that, he looked like a fucking like turtle or something. That's the only way I can explain it. Like he did not have a good looking face. Um, like he said
mm,
before, and he would even post like his old face. He'd be like, "Yeah, most people would rate me a fucking 3 before I got my surgeries, and now maybe like a 7 or an
mm.
8 or something." And um, this guy, this coach, he has like 700 ish lays. I don't know, 800 lays. To people who are listening to this, that probably sounds like fantastical. I'm saying this number and I almost don't even believe it. Like it just sounds insane. But like if you go and like meet these guys and like approach with them and join their groups, yeah, though they're getting they get laid multiple times a day. And the catch is they're spending 5, 6, 7 hours a day approaching, and they spent like this much
Mm,
money to fix their face, and blah blah blah. But it's possible to get these kind of results in this kind of place, and this is what it takes. But they said before they did all that, like they would you know they would just look at some advice online, try to approach, it doesn't really work, blah blah blah. They just kept fixing little things, and they kept finding what other people were doing, and eventually like everyone's results just goes like that. Like it starts like this and
mm.
then blah, like
Ah.
kind of like an exponential curve.
Yeah, man. It's like when you nail the look, like the dudes who can nail the look, like who can. Some of them don't have to do any surgery. Some of them just lose the weight, gain the muscle. Some of them don't even have to do that. The guys who've got a look that works that the market wants are fucking unstoppable. Fucking unstoppable. Like there's dudes I know, regular ass dudes, right? They've just got the look. So it's 500 matches a week. It's women pursuing them aggressively. They are so unbelievably picky. They will spend like 5 minutes analyzing a woman's face to ensure there are utterly no flaws or imperfections at all, if they are not physical perfection, then buy. That's the kind of abundance that dudes who've just got the look have. They are like the apex predator of the sexual marketplace. And there is alternatively the guys who've got elite game. They also have success as well. Whichever pathway you want to choose is up to you, man. But like as a basic minimum, you're going to need to be a cool guy. You're going to need to have some game. You won't be able to escalate, close, and retain all the rest if you're not quite masculine and quite confident. You need the skills. But then at a certain point, I'm kind of speaking for myself, entering my third year of hustle. I know I've pushed hard. I've got some game. I'm getting results, all that. I know if I changed a few things and invested some time and energy into just properly looks maxing, I think the next chapter of my journey is going to be similar to some of the Japanese dudes who you met, where they're getting the quality and the quant. That's insane. Like that is insane to think that, because I don't think there's like an improvement in your game that you can do that can deliver that. From what I've seen, I don't think that you hustling and getting your game way better is going to allow you to go into the street and all of a sudden your quality and quantity goes up. I don't know, maybe, but
Well,
yeah,
they
the
would
the, the
also
looks
say
maxing
like
part of the equation is
looks marketing is important. They would also say like game related stuff. Like they would say go watch this like sort of funny YouTuber who has like this good like street interview, like type Japanese street interview. Like you need this kind of energy. Like that. That's definitely. I don't think that's something to like
yeah,
look down on as well. Um, they would say like go do that, and people would post like, yeah, I looked
for
at this
sure,
guy, I was watching his videos on my free time, and then I started approaching, and dates are going a lot better now, and so I would
for
say
sure.
look, I think looks is a prerequisite, and then you need to also have the vibe. But that's probably the order we want to do.
Yeah, I mean, for anyone, I'm going to suggest like you max out everything you can. You max out your vibe, you max out your game, you max out your social skills. You fucking have to do that. That's to get successful in life in general. But then the looks aspect, man, like, cool. I think that the looks aspect, like, particularly weighs on the hearts of dudes who just didn't get the quality they're looking for, which was certainly myself, right? I wanted a certain type of relationships, properly investing in me and like really wanting to build something. You can explore other avenues for that. So yeah, that's just some thinking I'm going through right now. I'm not going to bring that into this discussion right now. That's for me to work out. But like, those are really interesting case studies and give people an expanded awareness that like many dudes around this planet that we live on are looking at this differently, and they are winning too, man. They are winning as well. They're killing it. Now I know for yourself, you do this overhaul. You work with a coach. Your image is different now. Your style is different now. You're gaining your muscle again. Everything things are on an upward trajectory. You've raised your value. Now you are back and taking action again. But something interesting happens in this time and journey. You are in a social circle now. How does that pan out for you? Because you went from, okay, I'm going to attack cold approach, I'm going to improve myself, to entering a social circle situation, but being a higher value version of yourself. How does that play out?
Right. So I had enrolled in language school in Japan because it was the easiest way to get a visa. So yeah, probably often said, but school is one of the best places to get social interaction. It's just like the bar is way lower to like
Mm.
the bar to like getting your foot in the door is way lower to just start talking to people. And I see myself as someone who I didn't really utilize all my like I kind of look back on like school and like college, like man, yeah, I kind of missed out a bit. But now I had another chance, like I had school again, and it wasn't my main goal to like mac like the thing was I wasn't focused on I want to get bang a chick from school. I wanted to get from the street, but I was just being myself and I had my way much better energy than I used to have in the past just from, this like at that point I'd been doing dating stuff for like a year and a half and doing self-improvement. So my energy was just overall better. And now there was a girl in my class where I could tell, okay, she kind of liked me. Like I there were so many times in the past where it's like, yeah, there were girls like we would talk and stuff, but I didn't really know what to do. But now it's like I knew exactly what to do. Like I think anyone who's sort of like a beginner with dating or like with girls, they probably experienced this 100 times. Like, man, I don't know, I just don't know what to do when I see a girl that I like or whatever. But now I was in that situation where I actually knew what to do, and it wasn't like I'm not gonna be like explain like I did X A B C 1 2 3 4. It was just sort of an intuition from spending a year and a half of just like going hard with dating. So now I was able to there was a girl who just started talking to me a little bit, and I took it to the fucking max. Like, she did not expect me to take it to the max, right? She's just talking to people in their class, and I started with something simple like, hey, let's like at first I didn't even think of it was going to go far. I was just like, hey, well, you want to get lunch after class? Like, fucking yeah, sure. So we got lunch one day, and
Mm,
and then I let her go. Like, I wasn't trying to play pickup mode on her. I was just like, yeah, why not? Let's just get some practice in or something. Like,
mm.
it's a fucking free meal right here. I'm not gonna reject it. So, um, so she's Chinese, and we she doesn't know English, so we're speaking. We're neither of us are native Japanese speakers, so we're speaking Japanese, and we both kind of bonded on the fact that, like, yeah, no one actually really wants to study Japanese or whatever, and no one actually really wants to speak Japanese. They just come here and whatever, blah blah blah, and um, we would. And there was this one day she was like, "Can you sit next to me from now on?" And like that was the time I'm like, "Okay, I'm going to plate this girl or whatever. I'm going to make lock her in." And I we just went on. I just invited her out a
Oh,
couple
motherfucker!
times.
You decided
Yeah,
right
yeah, yeah.
there.
Yeah, I just decided like, yeah,
Yeah.
like that was the mindset I had. It was just like it went from like, oh man, this girl, but like I don't know what to do, to I just decided like, yeah, I'm gonna plate this girl. Um and like I just started inviting her out, just like whatever. The first time, I think the second time we went out, yeah, this is I have to organize my thoughts here. Let's see. Should I talk about like this whole story from here, or how do you want to do this? Because this is a
Let's just get to
entirely
where, like, yeah, we want to give the audience the flavor of it, so they can kind of understand that you went from this whole fucking process of like learning these various aspects. You blast through, and now look at you, man. You are about to get what you finally, after all these years, you're about to get what you sought out. You're escalating. You've decided mentally, I'm going to make this happen, and now all the skills you've developed, you're making that take place. So chat to us about how you transition from like that social situation to dating, and how you built it from there.
okay. To cut, okay, in that case, to cut to the chase, I got a girl who I started dating who's completely obsessed with me. Okay, and this is how I did it. So first, I just invited her out a couple times. She was in my class. I just invited her to lunch after class. I didn't make a big deal of like, oh, I'm trying to pull her here and there all the time. But there was one time like we went out
Mm.
for noodles, and I made like a dumb excuse like, hey, I gotta go buy curtains. Do you want to like hang out with me? Like, it's totally fine. Like, if you don't have anything to do. And at first she's like, but like in she said she actually had to do it in the translator, like Chinese Japanese translator. She's like, but in China, like the girl only guys goes to the guy's house if they're getting married or married or something. And I was like, well, this is Japan and I'm American, so I don't know what the deal is. And 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 she's like, yeah, only if they're only if they're dating. And I'm like, well, do you want to start dating? I just said, do you want to start dating? And she was like freaking out, like her face started turning red, and she's like, oh my god. And it's like when you see a girl that does that, it's like, yeah, obviously that's fucking duh. So I just knew I had it in the bag. It was just a matter of like, okay, just go on a couple date. Like it was so different from my past experiences where I was like kind of not knowing what was gonna happen. This was like I was somehow just certain that I was going to have this girl. Like it wasn't even like a question. I just have to sit there and like watch the game happen. Like, yeah, that's the nuance I want to make. I think earlier it was like, yes, I'm trying to play the game. I'm trying to like, do this thing, do this thing, do this thing. I think with this girl, it felt like I was watching. I felt like I was watching the thing happen. Like
Mm.
it felt like I was in like a fucking rom
Yeah.
com or something, but I was the character getting the girl. That's literally how I felt. And I was just like, I just have to
Mm.
sit back and watch it happen. And what I mean by that is like I knew exactly like I didn't have everything planned out what I was gonna do, but like when a situation happened, I just knew okay, this is what I'm gonna fucking do because I spent that year and a half in America like
Mm.
going on dating, fucking up so many times, blah blah blah. So you have to fuck up a lot,
Mm.
and then you have to learn from the
Mm.
fuck ups. You have to have people who point out the fuck ups to you. I had so much of that. I had my old coach in America. I talked about that in the previous podcast. Um,
Mhm.
but yeah, it was just little shit like I just knew like okay, I'll just ask her out in the moment while we're sitting down in front of everyone, but it'll be kind of like a joke. And she freaked out, and I was like, I'm just fucking with you. And then she's like, they don't joke about that in China. And I was like, well, I said the same thing. I was like, well, this is Japan, and I'm American, so I don't know what your deal is. And I think from there I had her in the bag because it would be little things like there was one day. So yeah. There's one day she was like, "Well, I thought about it a little bit, and I'm kind of just like waiting until I finish university to find someone. I don't know if we should like date. I'm not trying to be like dating right now." I was like, "Okay," and then I decided to sit deliberately in a different place in the classroom. I was just like, okay, well, if we're not dating and I'm not gonna get what I didn't like. Thing was, I knew it was gonna happen, but I also knew like if she wasn't on board with it, then okay, well, we don't have any reason to interact. So I was just like, okay. I sat in another place in the classroom, and she like blew up my phone, like,
Abundance.
oh my god, no, 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 no. Like she was just blowing up my phone. It was funny because I didn't have like a bunch of girls on like the side. I actually didn't really have like
Mm.
pure abundance, but it was just like I think it wasn't specifically abundance. I just knew my value was like way above hers. Like I knew I was like too good. That was the attitude I had. I felt like I was too good for her, and it was like if she wants to join me, it's fine, but you got to play by my rules. That's how I thought
That's the
with
most
her
attractive.
specifically.
That's the most attractive thing a man can do is demonstrate the ability to move away, to walk away, because you know your value at your core.
And
You know.
yeah, and then she messaged me, and yeah, she was blowing up my phone. And later, she's like, "Why'd you sit in a different seat?" I was like, "I don't know, I just felt like it." Like that's literally what I
Mm.
said.
Low key.
She's like, and then I sent like a little stamp, like I don't know, I just felt like it, smiley face, like not even like a sarcastic. It was like one of those cute little like anime looking stamps or whatever. Um, and then next day she comes to class in a dress. She's like, I went to your station, like around where
Mm.
you live, to go to the mall, and I bought a dress and specifically for you. Like that,
Oh.
I want you to see it. And I sat next to her that next day. I was like, okay, okay, I see what it is. I see how it's going. I see what it is.
Cute.
So then,
Nice.
like, yeah, I invited her out. I kind of played like the slow game with her because I just felt like that would work better with her. Um, I invited her out to the fucking aquarium. Yeah, let's. Oh wow, I'm so beta. I invited a chick to the aquarium that I haven't even banged yet, but it just felt like like the thing is this wasn't like a dating app person. This was someone from school, and like I could tell she was like she was like younger and not like experienced or whatever. Like she wasn't like jaded by men or whatever. So um, I was just
Hmm.
like, yeah, I enjoy hanging out with her. So fucking let's go to the aquarium, and yeah, when we showed up and in this like front area of the aquarium, she's like, there was all these shiny lights and shit, and she's like, oh man, this would be the best place to be proposed to, and I was just like, wow, yeah, let's just tell the guy. This is what I mean by like, I felt like I was just watching this. I wasn't even playing the game. I was
Mm.
watching the game happen. Like it wasn't like there's these two camps. People were like, oh, I don't believe in game. Like, no, that doesn't work. You just be yourself, bro. And there's the other group of people where it's like, no, game is works. Like game, fucking, you need to go hardcore with that. And I in this particular situation, I felt like I was watching the game happen. I just knew what was gonna happen. And
Mm.
I was like, okay, I'm gonna. So we walk around the aquarium. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna fucking just ask her out when we. I'm gonna be real with her, because like now we've been friends for like a month or so. and I'm not gonna fucking sit around because I'm fucking paying money to a coach to get rejected on the street and blah blah blah. So it's kind of now or never. So I asked her out there, and at first she tried to put up a bunch of barriers, like, but I'm do you know how old I am? I was like, you're 18, and she's like, oh okay, like she put those little things, like I was 27, 20, 26 by the way. At the time I was 26, and she would put up like, but I I'm not even that cute. Blah, blah, blah. I was like, no, you're cute. Like, I thought you was like, why would I go out with a girl that I didn't think was cute? That was the issue I had in America, by the way. I think that's why I had this like so much cognitive dissonance. I was like going out with some girls I didn't really like, and I just didn't.
Mm-hmm.
But now I have a girl that I like clearly like even by looks standards or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So, she was just she was kind of like she didn't like fully accept it, but at some point I was like, okay, yeah, let's get out of here. Then she's and then yeah, so we were walking and I just like grabbed her hand. I was like, show me your hand. And I grabbed her hand and we started holding hands. Her hand was shaking so hard, like while we were holding hands. And then she like after 3 seconds, she's like, that was the first time I ever held hands with a guy. I was like,
Damn,
what the fuck?
first
Like
time she's
this
held hands with a guy.
yeah, this is a girl raised in China, so
Mm.
they're very different.
Mm-hmm.
You know, she went to a school where they banned romance, and like Chinese people are the types of people who would follow the rules seriously. Like
Mm.
you can't get away with it, like romance. Like they have fucking cameras everywhere in China, right?
Mm.
I mean, you know what China's like.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, we walked around a bit. And she was just now she started like telling me about her like life and her life experience. She's never had any like she had some like boyfriend, but like they never even held hands. I was like, that doesn't really count. I literally just said, yeah, that doesn't count. And she's like, no, it does. I was like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
whatever. And she was like, she was like, guess what age I had, what age I was when I had my first crush. And I was like, I don't know, 15. She's like, no. I was like, 14. No. Okay, 17. No. And I was like, wait, 18. She's like, yes. I was like, wait, I'm your first crush. She's like,
Mm.
yeah. And I was like, okay, yeah. Now by now everyone knows this is obvious. Yeah, obviously this girl likes me. So this is what I mean by like I was just watching it happen. But the reason
Slander,
it got
mate.
to this point was, yeah, and the reason why I got to this point was because I um yeah, I literally thought I was the shit compared to her. Like I was way up here and she's like, here, I'm like obviously better than her. And um I had
Controversial
actual
statement.
dating experience. Controversial statement, but I had dating experience, and you know and then the third thing was I didn't give a shit if she didn't agree. Like if
That's the
it
most
did turn
powerful
out
thing.
she didn't, if she turned, yeah, so fucking what? Even
That's
I
the
didn't
correct.
like I didn't even have actual abundance with girls or anything still, and I don't really consider myself like still like good with dating or whatever. But I just with this specific girl, I just had that like frame of I am the fucking man, and either you're on board or you're not, and if you're not on board, then bye. So yeah, we like walked around a bit more, and there's this one like I'm just gonna fuck with her the whole time because like now I know I got her. So like there's this one place where um there was this like little like chain fence dividing the road and the sidewalk, and she was on the other side, and I just like jumped over it, and she was just like kind of like standing there, and I like looked her in the eyes, like, you ready? She's like, yes. And then I just like knelt down, picked her up. She's taller than I am. She's like 5'6" or 5. She's like 5'7" or something. I'm 5'5", and she's probably like 60 something, 65 kilos. I just fucking picked her up and like lift and put her and picked her up everything and put her down. And she was like, "Oh my god, don't do that!" Like hitting me like this. And but 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 she would later tell me that was the thing that turned her on the most. Like she didn't think anyone had like the ability to just like manipulate her like physically like that. Like just be like, oh, like, oh yeah, the fucking gym paid off there. Um,
Damn.
And this is in
All
Japan,
those
like just
deadlifts and
in a
squats,
public
boy.
place. Yeah, this is in Japan in a public place. Like people don't do this kind of stuff in Japan. So this is I didn't give a fuck.
Yeah,
And like at the end of that, I was like seeing her off at the
that's
train
the most
gate.
attractive thing.
Yeah, at the end, I was seeing her off at the train gates,
That's the most attractive
and
thing.
yeah. I was seeing her off the train gates. I was like, okay, give me a hug, and she was like hesitant, and I was like, I was just like, fuck, I'm gonna steal a kiss from her. So I said, look here, and then I like kissed her on the lip, and she like pulled, she's like, oh my god, and she like stormed off, pissed, and she was like so fucking pissed because it felt like it's like, oh, I fucking
Mm.
trespassed into her property and some shit. But it's like I was like, yeah,
Mm.
I know she liked that shit. Like she fucking liked that shit. And and yeah, next day she was pissed at me. She said, you need to apologize. I was like, for well, I don't know what you're talking about. Like I was literally like clueless. Like, why do I don't know what I have to apologize for. And she was angry, but what's funny is the next day, like I literally didn't give a fuck. Next day go to class, like the day after there were 2 days after the date, she wasn't mad anymore. She was actually joyful and cheery again. I literally did nothing. I didn't try to be like, oh, I'm sorry, my bad, blah blah blah. I was just like, I wanted to kiss you. And later what would happen is I started inviting her on more dates and blah blah blah. And the day I finally banged her, before that, it was like I invited her to come to my place, and she's like, "Can we meet at a cafe instead? I'm kind of scared." I'm like, "Yeah, sure." She thought like the thing that made her scared of coming to my place was not that she didn't like me, but she was like scared that I was gonna like I could fuck, like she knew I could like fuck her up basically, and she was scared of that. Like, you might do something to me and like blah blah blah. Like she liked me, but she was scared, like she respected me. And I was like, no, I don't know why I'd want to do that. I just want to kiss you. Like that's literally what I told her. I literally I don't want to do that. I just want to kiss you. And yeah, that moment, she was like, okay, let's go to your place. Like I think that the
Ah.
combination of just like dumbass honesty, I kind of had like so I felt like I was way better than her. I didn't give a fuck if she wasn't on the same page as me, and I was just dead ass fucking honest. Like,
Mm.
yeah, I want to do this. Are you on the same page? These three things kind of like blend into each other, and yeah,
Yeah. Of the many
so
ways
that's how that unfolded.
that transpires, you get what you're looking for. You know, you see the deal. You're having a good time. You're enjoying your first proper romantic relationship, and look how much you've learned. Look how much you've just internalized through doing the work. What you shared there is quite powerful. There's many ways to quote unquote pass a shit test if you're inclined towards using that language. One of the ways is just simply not even acknowledge it. It's there at all. And just
Yeah, that's
power
what I
forward
didn't even
anyway of
acknowledge.
just
Like
what you
I
did.
saw
You know?
all those like shit tests that she did. She would do them all, and she still does them. That's what girls do. They do the shit tests. I just didn't
Oh
even
yeah,
acknowledge that they
they do
exist. It's
that.
just
They
like,
do that.
oh, okay. It's kind of now that I've been with her for about like 6-7 months now. I just see it as like kids like she's like a kid almost. It's like she's just acting up in
Best way
this
to see
way,
it.
and it's like, okay.
Best way to see it. As a man, we accept our role is to be order, stability, the banks of the river. Feminine is chaos. It's this tumultuous. Oh, this is insanity. And as a man, you simply roll with it, unfazed, unfettered. Your life gets better. You get more investment. You get better. Then experiences, they just like you a lot more. That's our strength. That's our power. That's what gives us more attractiveness. And you like, if you don't know these things, you have to kind of be shown them. You have to learn these things, which is why we do the work, which is why we go on the process of accomplishing. If something's important and it matters to you, regardless of what anyone else thinks, you can prioritize it, give yourself permission to get excellence. And when you can get the outcomes that you're looking for and you know internally this is fucking great, then you can continue with your life. Now, you had to do some weighing up then, dude, because you've paid this coach a couple $1,000s to get you into abundance, get you approaching in Japan. He's like, dude, trust me, if you do the work, you hustle, We do the looks maxing. I'll show you how to do this. Trust me, we'll make it happen. I ain't going to tell you that it's going to be easy. And I'm also not going to tell you that, given your appearance and everything else, you're not the preferred archetype. So don't go ahead and expect some unbelievable results. But we can get you something, which is a responsible message from a coach. But then you've got this,
Yeah,
you've got a
that was
girlfriend
something
now.
I
You've
really
just
liked.
went
Uh,
ahead and pulled.
uh, uh, yeah, yeah. Often in America, they'll be like, "No, I'll get you like I can get anyone anything they want." But like they were a little bit more realistic here in Japan. I'm like, I kind of appreciated that. But
Which is good, dude. Which is good, dude. You know what I mean? But like, talk to us about how you came to essentially the conclusion that, all right, man, I'm going to enjoy this relationship now, because you're in the mentality of, all right, man, I'm going to hustle, going to get my cold approach game on point, I'm going to do my work here and make myself a better man. But then all of that ends, that whole chapter ends because you're in a relationship now. Talk to us about that.
right, so I had this girl, and um, I'd been seeing her for about a month. Like actually, like we'd been banging on and off, like pretty much a couple times that month. And but then I was still in the coaching program, and you know I was going out and approaching, and I was like, oh man, like I wasn't feeling it as much because I mean, it's kind of lame to say this, but like I really was sort of like satisfied or pacified by having this like easy sex. Like I never had that in my life. I was at right. I'm still not like experienced in like dating or whatever, but I went from basically total virgin, zero anything to now I have a girl that I'm just seeing. Like I don't have to
Mm.
try. I didn't even. The thing was, I didn't even invite her. Like though, after the first time I banged her, I never invited her. She was always asking to come, like if she could come over, and I was like, yeah, sure, why not? So it was just like I just have to sit there and wait. I can do literally nothing, and I have this, and it was like even though I outwardly I was saying like, yeah, I want to fucking max out cold approach, blah blah blah, because it would do my ego better, and it does require a lot more effort and hard work and way more self improvement than
Yeah.
just getting a girlfriend. But um,
Mm-hmm.
I think my internal like psyche was like, no, you have kind of you have accomplished what I wanted to accomplish. I wanted to have like a girl who valued me, and then I were having like regular sex. So I was getting that, and I had like a bit of a cognitive disconnect. So I kind of dropped out of that coaching program. I was like, well, I kind of got to cut my losses here.
Yeah.
Um, there was even the guy, it kind of sucked because
Mm.
I kind of did lose the respect of some of the guys in there because I kind of dropped out of, at first I was like, yeah, no, I fucking die. I live or die for the game to now. Okay. Now that I have a girl where I'm getting sex all the time, it's just like, um, I wasn't in I didn't have that same like energy anymore. I think my brain I think I think after maybe a year or two of like grinding,
Mm.
I think I needed like a break,
Dude,
and I
yes.
had the break. Like I
It's
don't
fucking exhausting, dude.
yeah, and again I've said this
Dating,
multiple
dating.
times. I don't consider myself like I've maxed out. This is my the end of my story here, but I think I needed like if we had to
Yeah.
put it like my brain was sort of screaming, you need to take a break, enjoy this girl. You're probably not going to have this kind of opportunity again. You're probably not going to want it again. And the thing is, even if your goal with dating is like, oh, I just want to like, bang a lot of girls, um, there's certain things you learn with like male and female interaction just from having a girlfriend. Like you need to have like a girlfriend where the girl
Yes.
respects you, so you know how to act. Like you know, like it's things you can't like explain. Like do this, or even if someone writes a whole book and like do this. It's sort of
Mm.
like you have to acquire the behavior. It's sort of like if any of you know about language
The
learning, right? You
unconscious
could sit here and yeah, you could sit here and learn all the grammar rules of whatever language, but you're not gonna like you're not gonna be fluent. You need to actually live and immerse in it. And it feels like this having this girlfriend. Okay, now I'm immersed with like a girl all the time. The girl also likes me, but it's not like I can just sit back and do nothing. It's like, okay, you know, I'm learning how to interact with another because at the end of the day, this dating stuff, it's like you do have to improve your human
social
interaction and
skills.
personal social skills.
It's the
And
base of it.
even though I have had friends before, now I'm learning, okay, this is how I'm going to interact with a girl because a lot of my earlier failures in dating were just because I didn't really know how to act around a girl, right? I would kind of treat it like a friend frame. I didn't
Yeah.
or I would kind of be weird. I was very weird in my behavior with girls. Very socially autistic.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
not a literal autism, but like
Yeah.
social
Same.
autism. But now I feel like my
Yeah.
autism, my social autism, is heavily reduced just by having this girlfriend because now you can't be like a social autist anymore. Like it just doesn't. You just naturally don't do that now that you're having to think of someone. And
Mm.
the thing that really made me be like, okay, I'm just gonna enjoy my time with this girl is she actually wanted to move in with me, and she's like, yeah, my roommate sucks, blah blah, and can I stay over? I'm like, yeah, that's fine. And the thing is, I'm gonna have sex every day. Like the thing is, I went from having zero sex to maybe sex less than 10 times in my life to now like hundreds of times. So like fucking just like every day fucking. And she does shit like the thing is this girl likes me a lot. She's in love with me. She's dressing up in cat cosplay. If I tell like if there's like a little thing I don't like about her, like, oh, you should like change this thing about your looks, or you should put more makeup, or you should wear this kind of clothes, she does it.
Mm.
She respects when I say do this, and even if she doesn't like it, I've actually had to tell her like, if you don't like something I'm telling you, like you can disagree with it. I'm not telling you to be my fucking slave. I want you to disagree. If you don't like something, disagree with it, because like it feels like I'm actually like trying to help with her own sort of self improvement because she came from a very repressed childhood
Mm.
in China to now this is the first time she's having
Mm.
like she told me like I literally saved her life or some shit, or like I've changed her whole
Oh.
outlook on how guys act, and she's like not even into like Western. She used to be scared of like Westerners and anyone who spoke English. Her type was like Chinese guys with long hair, like that's what she's into. And I like we talked about archetypes and looks,
Mm.
but it's funny the girl who's the most obsessed with me doesn't even like my archetype. Like she makes me an
Amazing.
exception to her own. Like that's the thing. I'm like the exception to all of her preferences. Like she has all her preferences. If
Let's
if
touch
you
on
told her
this.
to sketch her ideal guy, like she doesn't like muscly guys either. Like I have muscle. I'm a kind of a bulky guy, but she doesn't like that. She likes the really thin guys, and she doesn't even like when I go to the gym or whatever. But like, and I go in the mirror and I'm like flexing. She doesn't like that, but she makes an exception for me. So like
That's
we were
it.
talking about look like earlier in the discussion, we were talking about looks versus game. I think this is more of a bit game, maybe I don't know, but
Yeah,
like that's
it
like
is
a
game.
behavior thing.
This is game.
It,
This is
it's
game.
it's just like I think the things I mentioned earlier, I was just like, I know I'm higher value than you, okay, and I literally don't give a fuck if you're on the same page as me or not. I think, and then I was just dead ass honest with what I wanted from her. I think that's like a deadly trifecta for girls. Um,
For
so
sure, dude. Let's just touch on this. So, dude, when it comes to human attraction between a man and a woman, they can have all the archetypes in their head. They can be brainwashed by what they've seen in the media. They could be brainwashed by what they've seen on films. They can have all that in their mind, and that's perfectly acceptable. And when they see a dating app, they could consistently go for the type of man that's in their mind as high value or whatever, as attractive. In real life, it's more complicated than that. When they start to fuel you, when they start to feel your energy, your personality, your presence, your strength as a man is way beyond your looks. One of the amazing things that Scotty said in conversation with Chris, that the most valuable and powerful part of a man is not his looks, his money, his status, or any of that shit. It's his heart and soul. And if you lose everything else, if you just have the fucking desire, drive to build something of yourself, that is the most powerful thing we have by orders of magnitude, 10 times more powerful than everything else. That, even with women I've approached who probably don't like the way I look, who probably would never date someone who looks like me, I could tell in their core they were attracted to me because of confidence, masculinity, vibe, charisma, and going out there and being a go getter. Just being a go getter, a hustler. Humans love this. We always do. We always will. It's always the way it's going to be. So this is why, just to situate our whole discussion, you got what you were looking for because of you as a person. Because of you as a person, that's the most valuable thing. Your mindset, your mentality, the growth that you put in, the risks you took, becoming a more successful person allowed you to obtain these things. You talked about how part of you felt as if you were letting people down in the game or letting people down in the self-improvement community that invested in you, that helped you over 2 years to push to become a better man. And now you feel like I've got a girlfriend. Now I'm taking the easy way out. That's what you said to me before. I'm taking the easy way out. Got to remember,
Yeah.
there's many ways up this mountain. This game, this game is a maddening game of self-improvement. There's many ways up the mountain. We seem to valorize those who stayed with it for many years, and we got the wins and got whatever. They did all these amazing things. Their numbers are all this. The stats are all this. Here's the thing though, about all that. We know internally when we've slayed the dragon within. We know internally when we've found what we seek. The smart people, those who are properly integrated and whole, they live on their own standards. They live on their own vision of themselves. They know where they want to go, and they have absolute fucking certainty about that destination. I know mine. That's why I keep going. I want to start a family. I want to find an amazing chick who's quality, and then I will stop this. Then it's done. Then it's done and dusted, dude. But until then, I will get up every day and I will fucking grind until that's my reality. You were given the rewards from your labor. And when they say, when you get the message, it's time to hang up the phone. There's a lot to be said for dudes who become jaded players, man, who did this for too long, who saw too much, who just went far beyond what they should have. When you get the message, hang up the phone. When you are clear internally what you want and that vision's starting to manifest, lean in. Because look at all the development you've obtained from that, man. That is one of the things I want to really celebrate in this episode today, that you accomplished these things. I want to close out on that now because I've got to go get a haircut. But I want us to just close
Who
out
has to
on
get the haircut?
me, even though you should,
Okay.
even yeah. This shit is an individual journey. It can be multiple years. It can be a lot of grinding. It can be getting on a plane and getting out into a different country. It can be that. It can be for some people, we've explored so much. It can be that you have to improve in the gym, improve in their physical looks, and lose their body fat, gain muscle. Sometimes got to get cosmetic surgeries. I did a hair transplant that helped me out. I still got to do more cosmetic work, right? Regardless of what the obstacles and the avenues are for the individual, what has to be your North Star that is front and center that guides you is where you want to go, what your destination is. Every day you've got to close the gap between where you are, point A, and where point B is in a straight line fashion. And that is how you actually accomplish things in this life. In this podcast today of IronWill, we explored the journey of the Bulldog who became the Brown Shogun, who did the impossible, who went to a marketplace which was hostile and went to a place where he was not received, and he won. There is no excuses. This guy started from a position which many would say is an unwinnable, impossible hand. He fucking played those cards he was dealt to the maximum of his ability, and he created outcomes through relentless commitment, year after year after year. As a coaching client, he's still trying to get to the highest level in his life. He's working on his Japanese language ability, and there's going to be more episodes with him in the future following what he's doing. But the key takeaways here are, there are no excuses, none that I will accept, none. You can go anywhere in this world. There's nowhere you can't go. You can have what you want. If you've done the work, if you've got the credentials, if you put in the self-improvement, then you can have what other people are having too. You can have that shit. And if you have really truly applied yourself like the Bulldog did, then take what is yours. Do not fucking ask for it. Go take it. Be decisive. Decide you want it. Relentlessly put everything else out of your head other than the goal. And then you will win. Bulldog, any pearls of wisdom you want to leave the audience before we wrap this one up, in terms of your advice for people who've got an ambitious goal, how can they get there when there seems to be all these different challenges coming forward? How did you pull through all this shit?
Well, if we had to go off this podcast, it's get your mental state in check, get your biology in check, and then if you feel like shit, you won't be able to get, accomplish your goals. You won't be able to do the work you have to do, right? Everyone knows the work they have to do, but just knowing is like 5% of the equation. 95% is actually going and doing it. So first, make sure you actually feel like you want to do it. Okay, so I talked about how I came to Japan a year ago, felt like shit. I had bad mental health. I fixed that by, waking up early every day, watching sunrise, water, meditation. Yeah, there's like all these different ways to do it. I don't have a recommended way. Ravi has way more knowledge on that. You can listen to his advice. Then it all just comes together. Then you just start feeling good. And once you start feeling good, then you're fucking set. But get your fucking actual mental health in check first.
Perfect. It's perfect. Bulldog, fully appreciate you. You are a IronWill legend for a reason. We're going to share this one with the people. We're going to wrap this episode up. We're going to thank you for your time, man, and we're looking forward to hearing from you soon and seeing all the things you accomplish in 2024. Let's fucking go.
Yep. Thanks for having me again, Ravi. Looking forward to the next one.